Cigar boxing, and my cigar is lit. At the end of the day, all we are fans. All we are fans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is here. Canelo versus Triple G tomorrow. I know I've taken a little bit to come out with my videos. I'm in Florida, affected by Hurricane Irma, so my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected by this hurricane. We were without power. There's a lot of street lights down here. Debris, people's houses destroyed, so devastation here. It could have been worse, but all my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone affected by it. I know Jeff Cotto is in Florida. I know Blood's in Florida, so I hope you're safe. I pray for you and your families. Part of my therapy is boxing and discussing it with everyone out here on YouTube, talking about these fights coming up this weekend. The fights coming up this weekend, the main one, Canelo versus Triple G. Let's talk about the headlines and talk about the prediction. Headlines, the biggest headlines I see right now is everyone's talking about the muscle mass that Canelo Alvarez has put on. But anyone will tell you in boxing that muscle mass does not equate to hitting harder or punching harder. Punching power equates to technique and natural strength. It's not something you can just put on in a gym with weights. In boxing, if anything, I'm more afraid of the fighters that have long, lean muscle, not heavy, bulky muscle, and anyone in boxing will tell you that. Why do you think that Tommy Hearns can punch so well? Julian Jackson and some of these other fighters, where Timothy Bradley looks ripped, but he couldn't crack an egg. Well, the thing is it going to help or hurt Canelo Alvarez as this fight goes on? Don't know. The other thing I have to point out is we disagree on the fight. We go back and forth on the fight. Some of us are fanboys. I lean more towards Triple G. I'm a fan of his more so than Canelo, simply because of their fight styles. It has nothing to do with anything else but their fight styles if you watch them. Okay? For this prediction, I did go back and I've watched, probably their last five or six fights. And this is what I'm thinking. I think that Canelo Alvarez in the first few rounds is going to come out and try and make his presence felt and try and get attention and get the respect from Gennady Golovkin. But here's the problem. I just don't think Canelo Alvarez is a harder puncher than Danny Jacobs. I don't think his power is super respectable simply because of his balance. If you look at his balance in fights, anytime Canelo Alvarez has been in there with an elite fighter, if they're the same weight or even close to him, they can beat him. I just feel that Canelo Alvarez has had a weight advantage in most of his fights. And I also don't see him as being hurt in a fight. But the staple in between any fighter who has caused Canelo Alvarez problems, and yes, there are, if you look at his fights, the main thing is a fighter who has a good jab has caused him problems. Even from Austin Trout, Ersan De Lara, Floyd Mayweather, and the way he switched it up, those fighters have all caused Canelo Alvarez problems. I just think in this fight, physicality and punching power does matter. I think that Triple G is the bigger fighter, the much harder puncher, much better technique, where his punches are much straighter than what Canelo Alvarez has seen. I would have loved to seen Canelo Alvarez fight a David Lemieux before this fight, but I don't think Oscar De La Hoya wanted that to happen. I just think the punches are going to be too straight later on in the fight for Canelo Alvarez to deal with. I know Canelo's planning to try and counterpunch and go to the body. Here's the thing. To throw those shots, Canelo's going to have to be on the inside. Does he want to get that close to Gennady Golovkin, with him being a mid-range fighter. I know everyone feels that the secret to beating Triple G is fighting on the inside. Not if he establishes that jab. And also Canelo Alvarez, his feet say something else. He's very flat-footed. So is Triple G. So some leather's going to land. But I feel that it is an uphill battle for Canelo Alvarez to change his style of fighting to beat Triple G. I think both guys are knockout artists, but I think that Canelo is a knockout artist at lighter weight classes. I think this fight does not go to the scorecards. I have Gennady Golovkin knocking out Canelo Alvarez in the later rounds. I've been wrong before with Triple G versus Jacobs, and I said he would knock out Jacobs in 5. But I'm not taking anything away from Triple G. I give props to Danny Jacobs in the fight he put up, especially with his feet and fighting on the inside and his punching power. Because Danny Jacobs is one of the hardest punchers in the middleweight division, where Canelo has never had a fight in the middleweight division. This fight boils down to balance. I think Triple G has the better balance, and he's always in position to punch. And I feel that the pressure will get to Canelo. Canelo has to change his fight style too much to win this fight. I feel that once Canelo and he gets back to the ropes, he's not going to have the advantages he had before, where his weight has, helped him. At this point, the guy is bigger than him and a guy who can punch and knock you out in one punch, not somebody who has to hit you multiple times. That will be the difference in this fight. I think Canelo Alvarez starts respecting Triple G's power as the fight goes on because the presence is there. I think the presence will be too much. This is about me what you think about this fight.